Hello, world, family of God, both in heaven and in earth. Welcome to Querying Science, Theology, Philosophy, and Spirituality. This is the LGBTQ Center for Philosophy, Science, Theology, and Spirituality, where we discuss science, theology, philosophy, and spirituality. And today we are having a very interesting topic called Education is Spiritual. Now, why did I want to talk about education? Because of very many things people don't understand about religion. Science is, we obtain, we get science knowledge through education. We get religious knowledge through education. We get philosophical knowledge through education. We get spiritual knowledge sometimes through education, but not necessarily from education. You cannot be taught certain spiritual things, but you can be told they exist. So, when it comes to spirituality, it's a mix of education. It is still education, but it's a different type of education. I'll explain it to you. And this is the reason why we have QSTPS Center. One of our goals is to educate the world and ourselves to understand very complicated things and science, because knowledge is power. And when you know, you become powerful. And that's why we speak. You know, some people tell me, oh, you are always on the videos. And I say, I wish they saw me when I was in campus. Every time I was free, I would preach, and with a very loud voice for an hour. I was always preaching for 3 years. I didn't stop, and I can remember what I was always doing. And when I would not be preaching, I would be writing and blogging. And I've been doing revisits of my blog, and I just laugh at myself. You know, some things I wrote, and I was like, what? And some of them were nice. Like one of them that was very nice was about Trump. And I was reading it, and I was like, wow, I didn't know I knew Trump that time. You know, that's 2010, 2011. I knew about Trump's behavior. You know, he was a very sleazy guy. When he had started attacking Obama about his birth certificate. Can you imagine? In 2010, he was disturbing Obama about his birth certificate. So when I was reading that article, I laughed at myself and said, wow, how did I think of Trump like that? Because I used to see Trump, and you know, when you write an article about somebody, just know that that person has really made an impact in such a way you have to write about them. And that's what I did. And lo and behold, I didn't know Trump was going to be the president of America. Personally, I wanted Hillary to be the president. Yes, because I knew she was going to stay with LGBTQ persons. And for me, America is more democratic. And I'll talk about it. There's another video, very important, we have to talk about America. I already talked about it on Rex Arthur, but I want to talk about it now in a more spiritual sense and philosophical sense. On Rex Arthur, it's more political thinking. And this is not a political channel as such. It is scientific, theological, philosophical, and spiritual. Now, so all of those things, all of the things we do in QSTPS, our objective is to educate, is to teach. Because when you read the religious scripts of the world, they talk about teaching. You see, there's writing. And most of these religions that have written text, they are meant, it means it is for educated people, for literate people, not for illiterate. If you can't read the Bible, animals can't read. They're illiterate. So what you can't preach to an animal. Go and preach to the dog. Open the book of John 3:16. Open the book of Isaiah 65. The dog will just look at you. That is why people go to school, so that you can give them data. And this data, according to me, is spiritual. All data in the world is spiritual, especially words. They are spiritual. Do you know why people cast spells? It is a spiritual act. Do you know why parents bless people with words? It's a spiritual act. Anything to do with your words is spiritual. Even right now, what I'm doing, I'm teaching, I'm speaking, it's spiritual. If I was dead right now, or if I die now, I will not speak. That's why speaking is spiritual. The word spirit in Latin is better than the word spirit in Greek. Because in Greek, the word is pneuma. Pneuma. But in Latin, it is anima. That's why we are animals. We have spirit. We have anima, motion. The spirit is what makes you do things like this. You see, like yoga. This is spirit. It's because it's movement that is being done with your body. And then I'm speaking. You see, movement. I'm dancing. Dancing is spiritual. It's movement. It is anima. I'm walking. Walking is spiritual. So, sorry about that. I was busy doing spiritual activity. Yes, doing this, even praying is spiritual. Walking is spiritual. Eating is spiritual. That is why the Holy Communion is taken. You eat the body of Christ and drink of his blood. That is why sex is spiritual. Because you cannot have sex with a dead body. It's not animated. It has no spirit. However, even if you come, even if you ejaculate or release fluids over a dead body because you've enjoyed it. There's some people who can even sleep with corpses just to, yes, there are people like that. Even if you do that, you have not had sex with a human. You've had sex with a corpse. And sex is best defined between two or more people. That's why much as masturbation is seen as sex, it is not sex. It is it has the same effect as sex, but it's not sex because you're not having sex with a person. There's no other person with you. But it's still spiritual because it needs animation. Yes. That's what sex is all about. So sex is also spiritual. And as I told you, the best religion to study in the world is Hinduism, because they have already explained this. Tantric yoga is sexual yoga. This is where people have sex for spiritual reasons. Because I think Hinduism, just like animism, believes that everything in the world is spiritual. Everything. Even Buddhists tend to believe like that. That's why you find the Jainists and some Buddhists, they cannot even step on animals. Ants, they watch their step. Because if they step on an ant and it dies, they feel so bad that they've killed an ant. That's why the vegan movement is rising, because they believe when you kill an animal, it has anima, it has spirit, and it doesn't want to die, so they are avoiding it. And but even I laugh at vegans when I'm jokingly, because I tell them, but what about the plants? They also have spirit. You see, they have life. Plants have oxygen. So when you kill a plant, it will not grow. So you also killed plants. So stop eating plants also. Now imagine you stop eating plants, you stop eating animals in the name of keeping life. You see? You might end up being hungry for life. Of course, I wrote a book saying capsule economy, whereby the world is going to get to a place, my futuristic vision for the world. I also make predictions or prophecies, and I predicted that we are going to get a time whereby we will not even eat plants or animals. We'll just take a capsule that is able to put all the foods, all the flavors you want inside, and make you satisfied as if you've eaten a very big meal. Yes, we're going to go, that's where food and nutrition is going. It's going to create very weird capsules, so that now when you go and have breakfast, you just take a capsule. So it will save time for those people who want to do very many things. And that capsule is enough. When it lands into your body, you are so satisfied and you've enjoyed. You see, the reason why do we eat food? Food tastes nice. You see, that's why education is spiritual. We have to taste and know that food. And how do you know your food? The mouth is a school. It's a center. You see, the mouth is connected to the brain. The eye connected to the brain. The ear connected to the brain. The skin connected to the brain. All the sensory gates of the body go back to the brain, the central nervous system. And so when you eat, your brain registers something has entered your mouth. What is that? Because of memory, it will tell you, oh, it's a banana, because bananas taste like this. And not only will your brain tell you it's a banana, even you yourself, because humans have programmed the system to say a banana tastes like this and looks like this. So when you say, that's why when you go to the restaurant and say, what do you want to eat? I want to eat a banana loaf. Why are you ordering banana loaf? You already have the memory of what it is and even how it looks. Can you imagine going to the restaurant and saying, I want to eat ololo? And they'll ask you, what is that? What is ololo? You see? And so people will, you eat what you know. See, the education, we are always being educated everywhere, every time. Every time you're being educated. Every time. Even when you eat, you are educating yourself. Because the food you're eating, you can tell whether it was burnt or it's good. You compare the taste. Because of memory, your brain is there memorizing. Rice tastes like this. But today, this rice is very interesting. Why? You see, you're educating yourself. So sometimes when people see the word education, they just think you're talking about school. No, I'm talking about life. Life is a school, and we're always learning day in, day out. And some of us we are learning on the job. Like at your workplace, you are still learning. You know, like a doctor, like a lawyer. You know, they come and they bring a case you've never had before in your life. So you have to think You use the knowledge you have. Again, you go back to the memory bank and you think of which case looks like this case or this one and what happened. Then we are going to do that. That's what doctors do, lawyers do, even the waitress. Because when the waitress hears I want a hamburger, she has to have memory to know what hamburger is. And said, okay, this one, hamburger, okay, yeah, I know that one. You see? And sometimes people are very funny customers. They ask you, how does that thing taste? To taste it. Oh, it's very nice. You know, a very good waitress or waiter will tell you it's very nice and they have really tasted it. But imagine telling someone it's very nice, you've never tasted it, and it's actually bad. Oh my God, you've lost a customer. So sometimes in hotels, you need to make your waiters and waitresses taste everything so that when you go and sell, you market the meal. You say, I think you should try this one. It's very good. And you've tasted it. Believe you me, customers will come because of the knowledge of that person. You see, the waiter is educating the customer. We are all teachers. It's a beautiful world. We are all teachers. We are teaching people in different ways. And that's why we are here. That's why QSTPS is here for you, to jog your thinking. So now let's go back to, we're still on education. So all of that is education. And education begins the moment you're born. The moment you're born. And I've told you what is education. Education is spiritual. Spiritual. Yes. It is animated. It's about life. That's why Jesus said, my words are spirit and life. You know, in ancient literature, when you combine two nouns following each other, they mean the same thing. So you're just saying, my words are spirit, my words are life. So what does that mean? Spirit is life. That's why a dead person does not have spirit. He doesn't have anima. That's why when animals die, they don't move. They have no spirit. That's what you need to know. And to have an evil spirit is just to do something that people don't like. Yes. Like you get very violent, beat people. That's a spirit. Even boxers are spiritual. Everything, football, all of these things are spiritual. All, everything we do is spiritual. Because what you need to understand about spirit is life. That's why when someone dies, his spirit has gone. He has no spirit. Can you ever put a dead person to come and talk to us? Dead. What will he say? Nothing. He has no spirit. So, when we are born, we are learning from day one. Because as I told you, children are the best receivers. They just receive. So when the baby is born, it's already hearing. But it does not have the ability to know that that is knowledge, but it is storing things. And even the science is even worse, because when the baby is in the womb and it is even before it's born, it can pick voices. You know, it's already sensing. Even in the womb, it's sensing the environment. It's sensing the environment. So scientists are already doing experiments whereby children who are born in very chaotic environments, they can come, it affects who they are even. Yes, as I told you, like sexuality, estrogen flashes are enough to make your child very feminine, be it a girl or a boy. Yes, so that's why you can't attack trans women, you can't attack gay men, you can't attack anybody you find and think is too feminine. You know, it's not, before birth, they went through estrogen flashes. Whoosh. Because, you know, women don't menstruate when they're pregnant. So what happens, every time a woman is menstruating, she has flashes. That's why they are mood swings. They are called swings because it comes like waves. So now when she has a baby, those waves are transferred to the womb. They don't go to, because there's no egg being released. But the hormonal system is so stupid. I'm just joking. It's so funny. You know, it's what I mean by stupid. Stupid is not an insult. It's just that it's so robotic. It will just release every month. It's releasing estrogen. It doesn't even know that there's no egg coming out. That's what I mean by stupid. It's robotic. So that's what happens to pregnant women. So some women who think too much or are very depressed release more estrogen than others. So that's why some children are more feminine than others. Yes. That's why you even have macho gays. They are masculine gay men. And you ask yourself, how did that happen? It's the mother didn't have a lot of estrogen. She didn't flash a lot. She had a very good, a peaceful delivery, you know. Or she got used to having children, so she's not having stress. You know, the first pregnancy for many women is the most stressful. Yes, very stressful. So that means they may even release more estrogen than the second child, because now when the second child comes, I'm used to it. I know what happened in the first month, I know what happened in the second month, in the third month. But when it's their first delivery, first pregnancy, they have no clue. Experiential clue, zero. So you see how education even happens to pregnant women. They are educated about their body. Yes, the first baby they have is a lesson about what it means to be a pregnant woman. Then the second baby they get to have, they have already known the system. So now they are better. Then the third baby, they're even more better. Then the fourth baby, that's why you find women who, they just want to have 2 children and that's it. Because they already know the system. They know what's going to happen. It's the same old thing, 9 months. I'm tired. But other ladies, they enjoy the thrill of giving birth. They end up having 15 kids, you know. So anyway, let's go deeper into, so we were talking about the children, babies. They are receivers. They receive data, but they don't retain it. Then, but however, they can retain it because the baby, when they is born, he knows, mommy, I know mommy's voice. So he, oh, baby, baby. Because he used to hear baby when he was in the womb, he just says, yes, that is mommy's voice. So he doesn't cry. But imagine when someone with a voice called baby, baby, the baby starts wailing because it doesn't know who that is. Its brain, very, very fragile brain, has not stored that data. Because that sound, baby, is data, but it's new data. And so the baby starts crying. And this is the same as human beings. When you receive a new teaching, you even can cry. Like what we read in the other scripture. They were astonished at the doctrine of God, of Jesus Christ. Because it's new data. Yeah, hey? See, so we also react like babies, only that we don't cry at new data. We just get astonished. But babies cry at new data because the brain has not stored that thing. So this is why we teach people, so that data is given. Yes. It's like as simple as that. And the best education is innate. You know, innate education. That's why people don't understand gay people. People used to ask, how is a person gay? that you must have been taught. No, you can't. Let me tell you, there's nobody who is taught how to be gay. You can't. It's innate. It's innate. Because you look at somebody and say, wow, this guy is very handsome. A straight man can't say that. You look at you and say, what are you looking at? You know, lesbians, they are praising a lady, how she looks, her hips. And you're like, someone's like, what? And you're a lady? Like there's somebody I was talking to, and I just told him, you're handsome. And he said, how can a fellow man tell that to a fellow? And I said, excuse me, it is possible. A man can tell a man he's handsome. Even in the Bible, the men who wrote the Bible, they wrote that David was beautiful and ruddy. Those were men who wrote that. So what does that tell you? They were gay. Yes, even if you're bisexual, you're gay. How can a man write that a fellow man is beautiful and ruddy? We should even read that verse in the Message Bible. Yes, I like the Message Bible. It's so modern. I think we'll do it one time. We'll read that verse. I can't read it right now. We'll get it next time. I think next time we need to have another device where the Bible is ready. You know, these days the Bible apps are so nice. You can just search the word very easily and you're done. Yeah, we'll bring that. But it was written by a man. So people should not attack men who love men at all, neither women who love women. So anyway, that is what you need to understand. Sexual education is never taught because we are born that way. Thank you, Lady Gaga. We are born that way. That's why there are people who are queer, there are people who are bi, there are people who are gay, there are people who are straight, there are people who are pansexual, there are people who are queer, there are people who are questioning. Yes, it is spiritual. I have put a very good video by my good friend, this queer spiritualist, this gay spiritualist. Very good. And he explains the spirituality of sexuality. And I love it forever, and I keep on listening to it. And you can go and listen to it it's on the playlist of, I forget the name of the playlist, but I will put it for you there. Or you just go through the channel and you'll find the one of the playlists that talks about LGBTQ spirituality. Very great guy, and I love him for his understanding the spirituality of sexuality. That's what he's actually teaching you, is tantric yoga. Yeah. And all religions of the world have all the yogas in Hinduism. All. Karma, Kundalini, Nana, Tantric Yoga, there's the other one of breathing. All of them, they have all the yogas. However, what differentiates one from another is one yoga is stronger in another. Like in Christianity, the yoga that is very strong is Nana. I think it's Nana. Nana is knowledge. Then, for some other denominations, it is tantric. Like there's in Africa, there are African independent churches. The reason why they left the mainstream churches was because they believed in polygamy. You see, polygamy was a practice, very common practice in Africa before Christianity even came. And so when the Western missionaries came, they told people, no, you're going to marry one spouse, one wife. And the African leaders who started reading the Bible, they said, no, it is not that. I'm seeing here, there is a man who married 3 wives, 2 wives. Why did God not kill them? And the white missionaries argued with them. No, the New Testament says it is one wife. So you open here, read one man, one, and then the Africa said, no, these people, they have married three. What are you telling us? So when it was so heated, these guys just formed their churches in anger. And that's how they were African independent churches. That's why I even say the LGBTQ affirming churches, is the new wave of African independence. Yes, and universal independence. Because the LGBTQ affirming churches are saying gay people are the children of God. People will open verses and tell you, but here it says, a man shall not lie with a man. And then I tell them, this is what I tell them. How many verses speak against a man shall not lie with a man? How many? Less than 6. Now, what about the other verses? They do not even address homosexuality. They even tell you everybody is a child of God. Everybody is a child of God. There are verses that say humans are children of God. There are verses that say humans are gods. There are verses that say some humans are the children of God, others are children of Satan. Now, which verse is right? You see? That's now how you argue with these people. So there's nobody who can claim that they are right about homosexuality. And then again, how I answer people who say a man shall not lie with a man. Paul talks about that the two shall become one. Which two? Sex is a joining act, and men can join with men, and women can join with women. So he says the two shall become one. You see? I'm telling you, I can answer these people so easily. Then secondly, I tell them, okay, what Moses wrote, that was a law. That is theory. You know, law is theoretical. But what was the reality? You know, you have to have legal realism. What was happening on the ground? People were having sex with each other, men and men, women and women. Even Paul said so. Yes, Paul said it. And then Paul, you know how to explain to people, Christians who are not behaving like that you know what, you guys, don't worry about them. Punishment is coming for them. Because people are confused that these guys are having sex with each other, but they are not dying. You see? So they were asking, what is happening? These people are having sex with each other. They are not dying. What happened in the church of Corinth? The boy slept with his mother, and God did not kill them. Yes. Do you know who wanted to come and Cain? It's not God, it's Paul. One of the best churches for me in the Bible is the church of Corinth. It was so real. And you know what confused people about the church of Corinth? They were so spiritual, but they were so natural. The best church. Actually, that is what the church should look like today. It should be so spiritual, yet so natural. I see it in Pentecostals. They are like that. A Pentecostal is very spiritual. When he's praying, then when it comes to, oh, look at her. She's dressed like she wants to show off. I'll show her. You know, I'm gonna show her what I know. You know, have you watched Greenleaf? This new, very nice. It's about Christians who, black Christians who exude the spiritual and natural life. Because you know, there are two people. There are some people who spiritualize life. They are so holy, and they're like, oh, bless your soul. Oh, it's time to let's go and talk, let's go and have dinner, and he's like, what? You think they're Amishes? But Pentecostals are very different. The guy will preach and tell the word of God, then next thing he's looking at you and he's so jealous. Oh, how are you? And he's like, okay, we'll get you later. That's that was how the Church of Corinth was. It was so natural, yet it was so spiritual. So Paul did not understand, and he said, that's where he said that I used to think like a child, but now I think like a man. He was talking to them, because for him he found them so childish, because they're always bickering over small things. They were always saying, me, I'm for Paul, and the other one said, no, I'm for Apollos. Then, no, may I prefer this guy, he preaches better. They were very natural, and they were rich. Yes, they were rich. Corinth was the richest city, and guess what? It was the sex worker city of Europe. One of the most powerful sex temples was in Corinth. And Paul was very anti-sexual. So when he prayed for a girl who was possessed, she was a soothsayer, they came for him. When you read the book of Acts, I'm telling you, you can't get bored. It's a very nice storybook, because, and especially, I would encourage you to watch these movies of old, Sparta, Gods of Egypt, these very old movies. When you watch them and then you read the Bible, you will enjoy, you will understand, you will put yourself in that world. So Diana used to be the god of love. And there's a story where they were screaming, he's come to destroy our goddess Diana, and they were screaming, yay! Ancient people were so wild, they were very wild. We are very calm these days. Humans are too calm. We are too calm these days. But those guys were wild. So anyway, the Church of Corinth was like that, because the environment they lived in was very natural. It was very worldly. Churches in New York do not look like churches in Cambodia. Churches in Los Angeles do not look like churches in Kentucky. Reason being, the environment. You see, Los Angeles is a very posh, life is good. So even the church you go to, it's so nice, it's plush. But you go to Kentucky, it's wooden, be quiet. That environment affects your understanding of God and life. That's why urban churches do not behave like rural churches. Yes, it's a fact. It's the environment. It's affecting even the theology. It's affecting even the understanding. Okay, let's continue. So, and that's, you see, education is still happening even when you are working in the environment. People who live in the city know the city, because the city is educating them. You see this building, then you ask, what is it called? It's a bank. Okay. Then what is that called? It's a restaurant. So the city is even teaching you. We are always learning. We are always learning. That's why I always tell people, travel as much as you can. You learn more, because every country has something to teach you. And if you can't travel, go to YouTube, put a country, Latvia, and look at Latvia and see the people, how they look. You will learn about Latvia. So that's what you need to know. So education happens. So now when you're in the city, you only know the city. But if you don't know the village, believe you me, you will not know village things. Like, I remember, I'm not raised in the village. So I remember when I went to the village for the first time properly, deep village, to do some work. We were with a church, and my friends made fun of me, so they asked me, what is this? So I could only remember what I was taught in school. You see how education is so spiritual. You will only know what you were taught, but what you were not taught, you can't. So the herbs, they were showing me herbs, and I was like, what are these? And they know the names of those herbs. Why do they know them? They know them. They have experience with them. Yes, I didn't know them because I don't have experience with them. But I know when they come to the city, they don't know certain things in the city. I'm the one to help them. You see? So it's tit for tat. Education is found everywhere. All right. Now, let's finish this education uh, issue by just reading from the Bible a story, and I think it's in Matthew chapter 5. So we are always going to lessons, teachings, education, and sometimes education happens once a week, like in churches. Why do we call them Sunday school? It's because you're going to teach children about God. That's why it's called Sunday school. It's school that people attend on Sunday. And I was studying the word school in Yiddish, that is European Jewish, and the name of the synagogue is called Shul. Now, Shul in 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 Africa, Kenya, Tanzania, in Swahili is also pronounced Schule, which is school. So in Germany, going to the synagogue is going to school because you're going to Shul. And so, what does that mean? Places of worship are actually schools. That's why they teach you doctrine. They indoctrinate you. They put data in you so that you can follow that religion very well. There's no difference between religion and culture. They are the same. Every religion is a culture. Every culture is a church. Every nation is a church. Every country is a church. It's a congregation. You see, the children of Israel, they left Egypt to go to Israel. Who said the children of Britain cannot leave Britain to go and live in France? And they follow someone called Moses. And he says, thus says the Lord, we are leaving Britain. It is a forsaken island. And we are going to go to France. So people follow Moses, the children of Britain. And they go to France. And they live there. You see? So the children of Israel can be the children of Congo, the children of America. Hello, Jesus, children. There was a very nice song by Stevie Wonder about Jesus, children of America. Something, I can't recall. But it has those two words, children of America, children of Brazil. So the children of Israel left a place called Egypt and went to stay in Canaan. So who tells you that the country you live in, you will not move out? You see, that's what happens. Who said that you are living children of Tanzania and you think you're going to live in Tanzania forever? Already there's a very big crack that has happened in Kenya that scientists have said in the next million years, Kenya is going to be an island with Somalia and part of Ethiopia. So what does this mean? The current war between Kenya and Somalia is very crucial because in years to come, Somalia will have to be one with Kenya. That is the political projection you have to make. You see why war never ends? Never. Never think armies go. Even I always ask myself that if Jesus comes back again, will armies be disbanded? I even remember when I wrote an article, will the police disappear? Because Isaiah says when the kingdom of the Messiah comes, all the weapons will be turned into garden tools. Of course, the prophecy is so old, so that is all he could think. He just thought that the things will become, because the only thing he knew, swords. That is all he saw. So in his prophecy, he said when the Messiah comes, the swords will be turned into plowshares. You know, so basically what he's just trying to say, when the world will have peace, how we can interpret it for him and become a modern prophet, yo-yo, is when there will be peace in the world, people will be inventing tools to help the world better and not tools to destroy each other. Those are weapons. So, but sadly, the Messiah hasn't come. And so because of that, people don't trust each other. So they come and they start buying, stockpiling weapons. They stockpiling weapons. And though in the Bible it's very interesting, Jesus, when he's going to reign for 1,000 years, of which in those 1,000 years nobody will die, the world will still have weapons, because at the end of the 1,000 years there will be a war with Satan, because he'll be arrested for 1,000 years. Then he'll come out again, cheat the nations to go and fight again in Israel. Then they'll finish him once and for all. Then the whole world there'll be a new heaven and a new earth. Anyway, that is John's is his teaching. I'm laughing because some people look at that and really say, what are you saying? My atheist friends will be like, excuse me, just get a life. But no, this is a life. It's a religious life and a philosophical life. So we study all religions. Yes, I have time to study them, so I'm doing that. All right. So let's finish this issue of education. So the education you've had in school is spiritual. The education you have at home from the TV is spiritual. From the newspaper, all of those are education. Yes, everything. Internet, oh my goodness, it is the latest spiritual hub, because it has words and it has images. Do you know what was the old word for idols in the Bible? Images. That is the old word for idols. Images. The kings destroyed idols and images, pictures. Those days they never had lights, they never knew photography, so they couldn't. But today with photography, you can even have a big picture of your God and you put it in the room and you just pray. Now, if the old kings of Israel, the holy Joes, the Asa, I call them Asa band, if they were around today, they would come to every house. If they were the rulers of the world, they would say, no one is going to show any image of sex, any image of our God, because our God has no images. And they would destroy anybody whose phone shows images. You see, puritanical rulers, and Islam is like that. Yes, Islam is like that. It's very puritanical. And this is why we are supporters of the reform movement of all religions, especially Abrahamic religions. They need to be reformed to be tampered with science, so that they stop being so dogmatic and so puritanical. Yes, because Puritanism is dangerous. Do you know the Puritans are the ones who killed women because they suspected them to be witches? Instead of them understanding what witchcraft is, science behind it, they just killed them. You know, those stories are very weird. Salem, just think of it and you really laugh. Because these guys, they should have taken time to reason and study, why are you calling this woman a witch? You know? You know what I believe about powers? Powers cannot be explained with human language. It's hard. It's very hard to explain. Because if you look at Elijah, Elijah is a man who they say had powers. Do you know he brought fire to devour men and they died? And that same power Elijah had was used to heal people. So, was there in his body that this is evil power and there's good power? It was not there, it's just power. And to understand power, power is not bifurcated, it's just power. That's why a country, the government has power over your life, especially when you are taken to court. The government has power because they will punish you. The state gives the punishment. Have you ever seen a prisoner who runs away from the punishment of the government or the state through the court? They can't. If they do, they have a right to shoot him. They have a right to shoot him because they have the power. That's why Paul told people, please fear the government, because they have power over you. Romans 13 is one of many Christians, especially American evangelicals, they don't like it. They hate it with a passion because when Obama was president, they never read that chapter. They never read it. And then when they saw Hillary was coming in, they worked so hard to get... You know, Trump was not supposed to be president. It was Ted Cruz. He's very evangelical. Yes, it was Ted Cruz. I remember Kenneth Copeland made it very clear that this is the man who is God has chosen. Yes, they were so ready to have an evangelical in the White House. Now, when they realize Trump is going to be in the White House, they ask themselves, but which church does he go to? Immediately, they send pastors to him. And they said, you have to get there and you have to stick to our script. That's what happened to Trump. Yes. So, power, what I'm trying to say about power, you have the power to create and to destroy. That's why Martin Luther King said something very powerful about Nazi Germany, that they were able to do those atrocities because they had power. Yes, they had it. They were able to commit atrocities because they had legal power. You see the danger of politics? Somebody who has a very bad scheme will enter into power to do something. Because and no wonder the Nuremberg trials could not forgive, and they just had to judge them because it was an abuse of power. You don't use state power to kill people. Yes, don't use state power to kill your citizens or anybody. You can only use state power to kill in the time of war, because the moment you've declared war with another nation, the people who die in it was part of the war. Yes, people need to understand war, even religiously and scientifically. When you go to the battlefield, you've died and you've died. You don't arrest those people who killed the soldier, because the consequence of war is that you can die. One of the outcomes is you can die. So that's why you don't arrest Syria because you lost soldiers. No, you were in war. You said, we are going to fight Syria. Let's meet there. Then you fight. Then you lose 5,000 soldiers. You will not go and take Syria to court and tell them we lost 5,000 soldiers, they killed them. No, it's part of war. So that's what people need to know. So the Jesus Christ was a teacher, a spiritual man, and I've told you teaching is spiritual. Moses was a teacher, spiritual. Everybody who writes is a teacher. Even journalists, they are teachers. We are all spiritual. All of us, we are gods. Yeah, we are all gods. And some of us are more godlike than others, depending on how much we know and how much we can do. That's what you need to understand. That's the system of the world. That's why Romans 13 is the best scripture to understand power structures. Paul was just repeating what Jesus said. You know why Jesus could not attack Pilate or Herod? They had power. That's what he said. He said, the power you have, it is from my Father. So I cannot attack you. That's what he said. And Pilate was so soothed. He just even said, there's nothing wrong with this man. He even knows I'm in charge. So that is the story. Now I want us to finish with Matthew 5. So sorry, we can talk. I personally, I like discussing about philosophy, religion, and when I have time, like today, I think I have time, so that's why I'm talking that much. So don't worry. Now, Matthew chapter 5 is where we're going to finish our discussion. And in Matthew chapter 5, Jesus is talking about the learning the word of God, or education. So when he's talking about education, he gives a parable, and that parable is about hearing the word of God. Alternatively, because I'm not getting it right now and time is going, I will just paraphrase it. Jesus Christ is talking about Yeshua HaMashiach, his other name in Hebrew. He's saying that he was giving a parable, and he said it's the parable of parables. This parable is the parable of listening, because just as teaching is spiritual, listening is spiritual. Acting is spiritual. Now, Jesus said something. He said, this is the parable of parables, and you must understand it to understand all the other parables. So how did it go? He said, the word of God is like a seed, which when it's planted on the ground, there's one place it's planted on the ground and someone steals it. Then the other one is planted in the ground, and because thorns are there, it can't grow. Then the other one, because of bad conditions like weeds, it doesn't grow. Then the other one grows, and then when it grows, some of them grow into 30-fold. They bring 30-fold harvest, others 60-fold, and others 100-fold. So what was he trying to say? He was saying, when you teach people something, not everybody is going to hold on to it. It's the same thing. Every education, school, television, internet, not everybody is going to keep. Some people, they will hear what you're telling them, then they forget. Others will know what you've told them, but because they have very many things to do in life, they will let go of it, and it won't be important to them. Others, because when they try and put into practice that work, it becomes so hard and they give up. Then others do what you've told them, and some do it to 30%, others do it to 60% good, and others 100%. So what does this mean? When you teach people, don't really worry about whether they're understanding. There are some people who can't understand. Yeah, they can't. Some people have dementia. You tell them this, then tomorrow you ask them, what did I say? They'll just look at you. And then you find the pastor crying that these people, I'm teaching them. And no, it's not that. It's that there are some people who can't retain what you're telling them. You know, you can talk to somebody about, you can teach somebody, and he's so stressed. He's not retaining anything. He's just looking at you, waiting for the time to end. When is this guy going to stop preaching and teaching so I can go and do other things? That's what happens. And they go. Others, they are there taking notes. So what is the lesson from that? That education is spiritual, but the reception of it is varied and diverse. It will forever remain like that. That's what you have to understand. Forever. Why will it forever remain like that? We are diverse. That is what you need to know. We are not the same. I remember my maths teacher used to cry that he wanted everybody to be like the ones who are passing. You see? And it's impossible. They can't. People are so different. Some people are slow learners. Others, they have sicknesses that make them not understand. Others are just naughty. Others they don't like the subject. Yeah. So are you going to force them to be like one? You can't. This is why constitutions are the best laws, because they allow diversity to live. All diverse people to live there, irrespective of sex, age, religion, sexual orientation. You live. Yeah. Because people need to know you cannot make a law that says only Christians will live in this country. And they are diverse people. It's like Jesus saying, I am only going to teach those people who will listen and do what I say. No, that is wrong. Even him, he didn't say that. He just used to teach. Do what you want. If you don't want to pick my lesson, it's okay. Yes. If you don't want to pick my lesson, it's fine. I have done my part. That's how people should teach people. That's why I like the media, mainstream media. You know, they just read the news. They don't wait for your reaction. Yes. They don't wait for your reaction. They just tell you this is what happened today, blah, 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 blah. After that, they go to the next news item. Some people will now talk about that news item. Others will even forget. But that's not the job. The media has done its job. And for information, teachers are media. Medium. You know what a medium is? Is a tool. Is a channel. We are all channels. Yes, we are all channels. I'm a channel. And we are diverse channels. Some people are channels of science. Others are channels of philosophy. Others are channels of religion. Others are channels of sex. Others are channels of politics. Others are channels of history. You see, History Channel, Discovery Channel. All of these, all of you, everyone is a channel. Everyone. That's what social media has done. You know, social media has created, like Facebook has how many accounts? Almost 2 billion. 2 billion channels exist in the world. 2 billion Facebook channels. Because everybody who has a Facebook account is a channel. He can post something, information. Everybody who has a Facebook account is a channel. That's how powerful you are. That's what social media did to the world. It has empowered us. I don't have, minus YouTube, I'm just a normal person. I'm just there, trying to survive. But with YouTube, I'm powerful. So I'm very grateful to social media. Yes. So anyway, what I have to tell you is education is spiritual, so is listening to it, and so is even implementing it. And that's why I'm telling you, there is no pressure of living a very holy life, this so-called holy life living. um, I don't buy it at all. Judgment day, hell. I'll explain to you why. I have my reasoning. Of course, I encourage you to listen to Bishop Carlton Pearson. He has come down to earth when it comes to religion. Yes, it is the clearest understanding of religion. Because of one thing, there is no way that the sacrifice of Jesus Christ can be defeated by something else. There is absolutely nothing. There is no sin in the world that is greater than what Jesus Christ did on the cross. So it's madness, in my view, to say that if you are gay, you are not going to heaven. It's madness. Jesus has already died for you. Even if you call homosexuality a sin, he has died for it. And it's not that when he has died for it, you won't do it. You will do it. It's your nature. Yes, it's your nature. That's what I used to argue with some pastors. I used to tell them that, you know what? It's even if you want to call it a sin, it is natural. I'm going to do the sin series to show you Paul, the tongue-speaking apostle who even went to heaven in a dream, sinned. So because of that sin, did he go to heaven? Did he go to hell because he sinned? You see, it's madness to say he's going to hell because he sinned. No. He's with God. He's one with God because God wanted to be one with his creation, and he did it through the sacrifice of his son, Jesus Christ, the Lamb of God. And that sacrifice was once and for all. Are you listening to the English? Once and for all. Even those who hate Jesus, he died for them. It's a sacrifice. Do you know Israel still does Yom Kippur? But they don't do Yom Kippur the way it was done in the olden days. Yom Kippur means the day of covering. So there was a goat that was killed for the sins of their people. And guess what? Even Muslims have Yom Kippur, but theirs is called Al-Ida. Al-Ida. And Al-Ida is to copy what Abraham did when he sacrificed Isaac. But for a weird reason, they don't sacrifice a ram. They sacrifice a goat, just like Jews. Jews, they sacrificed a goat because a goat was seen to be a sinful animal. Now, they would lay their hand on the goat, and the sins of Israel would be carried in that goat. Of course, I'll have to read properly. I've forgotten my Yom Kippur from the Bible, not the current Yom Kippur. The current Yom Kippur is just a day of covering, but they don't do the ritual. But the old one, that's what they did. There was a goat, and I think there should have been a ram. It's that because the goat would be touched, the priest would touch the goat, and the priest was the representative of the people of Israel. Contrary to the thoughts of many people, Moses was not the king of Israel. It was the high priest, Aaron. That was his job. He was a representative of Israel. So when he laid his hands on the goat, though even the elders used to come and lay their hands on the goat, it was symbolic that the sins of everybody that whole year are going to go with the goat, and the goat would be thrown to the wilderness. So to mean that all the bad things you've done they have gone. That is how, and they used to do it yearly. But guess what? The beautiful thing about Israel, they never used to keep some of these things. Yeah, they were human. And they just lived life. That's why I don't, when I come here, I'm not coming to make you very religious. I'm just coming to make you knowledgeable. That's what I'm doing. This is the purpose of QSTPS. I'm just empowering you with knowledge and jogging your mind. But I'm not here necessarily as a pastor. You know, pastors are the ones who try and put people in a moral path. No, I'm not coming here as that. I am a pastor, a modern day pastor that brings, the way I'm teaching is not what many pastors do. You know, I'm bringing science, I'm bringing the thoughts of atheists, bringing the thoughts of Hindus, bringing the thoughts of Muslims. That is the work of QSTPS. To show you that really don't really kill yourself, that I have to be fundamentalist, I have to read the Bible like him. No, that's what we're doing. We're not forcing you to read the Bible. We're just telling you what we read and what we see and what I think. And that's why the space in the video has comments. You can comment. Yeah, or you can just keep quiet. Like most of the videos, people have just kept quiet. It's okay. But the video is there. I have said what I wanted to say. So that's education. And just know the world has a lot of work to do, because since education is spiritual, and very many things like homophobia, transphobia, you see, like especially in the Islamic world, you must understand Muslims in a nice way. They are very indoctrinated. They're educated in Islam. Now the problem of that is what the data they are given sometimes is a bit sad. This is why terrorism is there, is because the data they have is that they give them historical data that the Europeans invaded Muslim lands centuries ago, trying to change them. So sometimes that teaching, it can invoke, it's like the same, there's no difference between that teaching and the teaching to black Americans that whites enslaved them, you know. So when you hear that history over and over again, you are passing down the seed of what happened. So sometimes people some people, not everybody in the society who has received the information, some of them will get so bitter about the system because they know the history, they know what happened to them, to their forefathers, and that's what then they react to it. Like for me, one way I talk of one way of solving problems is reconciliation meetings, which I've also suggested for America. America needs a reconciliation meeting. All those races, they need to come, have a special day, and it's a new holiday. You know, the problem in America, they are so conservative and religious in the sense that holidays, for them to have a new holiday, oh, it takes war to have a new holiday. Yeah, because the way they are going, if they are not careful, they will have a civil war. Yes, I'm telling you, even if it is not hot civil war, by hot I mean aggressive with bullets, it will become a cold civil war, like what's happening. The government shutdown, that is a civil war. Yeah, it's a civil war because the country is divided. They have not reconciled. They are not together. They have issues with one another. So they have to sit down and reconcile. You see what happened in Rwanda? They had to do it that way. Yes, they had to. Rwanda had to reconcile. And kind of I'm happy with Kagame, though there are some points when he deals with the opposition, it's a bit hard, but understand them. You see, even Rwandan democracy has to be unique because of their history. It has to be unique. You know, other countries, their democracies are very free, people can talk. It's because they don't have a very bad history of democracy. But countries where people died because of politics, you really have to watch everything in that country. That's why you see, even in Rwanda, nobody can just be a pastor. You have to go to school for a reason, because they know church can be used. It's an abuse. You can abuse church power to kill somebody. Yes, that's what you need to understand. They are very influential institutions. One of them is religion. One of them is religion. So that's why we take time. You know why we even have this QSTPS center? It is to engage with the religious institution in where we live. Because sometimes I can meet a pastor, like now where we are in Kenya, we are having issues. We still stand for LGBTQ rights. So we know there's a time coming when we have to face these religious leaders. We can't cower away. We'll have to come with information and tell them this is how we understand it. You see? So this is why this center is here. We have these videos here so that when they come, you know, someone may look and say, but this guy is just making videos. Yes, I know why I'm doing them. I'm doing them early. Yes, early. So that when the time comes, I have evidence that I actually told people about this. Yeah. And that's simple. It's as simple as that. And one thing about LGBTQ rights, even in the faith spaces, is nobody, you cannot judge. Yes, you are not the judge of somebody's spirituality. You're not the person to say this one is going to heaven because he has no earring or he has no tattoo. No, that's not your job. You never do that in a religious space. The only place you judge people is in a courtroom. That's where you judge them. Do you know why? Evidence is provided. That's where you judge a person. But you don't judge people in a religious space. Because when it comes to religion, it is personal, it is private, it is subjective. Because where is God? And even if there's an idol and it's called God there, has the idol slapped you because you went and slept with someone? No. So who are you to slap that person because you are told he went to sleep somewhere? The idol has not slapped him. Leave him alone. Leave him alone. That's what Jesus said. And Jesus is not on earth now. So what are you going to do? You want to police, the moral police? Police, do you know police do not come to check people for religious sin? Because it's not tangible. Yeah. That's why we are fighting the criminalization of homosexuality. It's not tangible. People don't have sex in public. So why did they have that law? Do you know there are even heterosexuals who have anal sex? And they are contravening the law? There are heterosexuals who do oral sex and they are contravening the law. So, even heterosexuals should understand the decriminalization of such laws is also helping them to have peaceful sex without thinking that I'm in trouble. That's what people need to know about laws. So that's why, and the faster the better, because you know when you're a country and you've done away with such colonial vestiges or relics, you will focus on other things, development. This is why we are here to tell churches, don't focus on the sex life of your people because you don't know. Leave them. I am happy with some churches which though they are not LGBT affirming, but they don't focus really on sexual life of their people. They just tell them, come to church, we're going to preach, we're going to encourage you, because church should be a place of encouragement. Yeah, not really beating people up. Yes, it should be told. You see, I'm happy with Rwanda. The pastors will be the same. They will be all organized. Yes, it will be organized because all the pastors, whoever will be a pastor in Rwanda, is one who has passed an exam. Now, someone will ask me, but what about the illiterate man who is a healer? Let him remain a healer, but he's not a pastor. Yes, it's not stopping illiterate people from expressing their religious views. Like me, I'm expressing my religious views. So, but I'm not expressing my religious views as a pastor. Even though someone can call me, this one is like a pastor. Yes, it is. I can be like one, but I'm not one. You see, when you study the law about the pastoral office, like what has happened in Rwanda, there are certain functions the pastor has to do that me, even if I know the Bible very well, I can't do. That is now the clear-cut definition. You see, I can know the Bible more than even that pastor, but there are certain things I can't do. One of them is I can't get a salary from that church as a pastor, because the law is clear that if you are a pastor of a church, you must have gone to university and have a degree in theology. So you can preach. They're not stopping people from preaching. What they are stopping is a church being led by someone who doesn't have the papers. That's what they're stopping. And that one I support. But preaching can take place in your house, like YouTube. That's okay. There is no real system, tangible system of control and organization. But in a church building where there is a pulpit, and then every Sunday or Saturday, the person standing up does not even have a degree. He's contravening the law. And the problem, okay, why is it that they bring that reasoning? It's because it is abuse of power. Power can be abused, and illiterate people who haven't learned, can abuse power. Yeah, illiterate people. You see, an educated person, a person who has passed an exam, he will do what he has been taught. But an illiterate person, he will say whatever he wants to say. Yes. And or a semi-literate person, a person who can read the Bible but only understands it in a basic way. So that's how you fight homophobia, that's how you fight transphobia, that's how you fight tribalism, that's how you fight, because you see, when you train people in theology, like what I would tell Rwanda is supposed to have the theological schools should have a course unit that even discusses what happened in Rwanda. Yes, everything. Then also the bad consequences of tribalism. They should teach that. And then people have to pass that exam. Even this is what I suggested for American government workers and all government workers in the world. They should do an exam in diversity, because people are diverse. You are a government worker, so you must be prepared to meet a citizen who is not like you but needs services from the government. You have to give services equally to everybody. So, like for example, you're a government worker and a young guy with earrings, and then the hair is very shaggy, and then he has a tattoo, then he's sagging. He comes and says, "Hey, yo, I have come to apply for my identification card and whatever, blah blah blah." In a very moralistic, puritanical society, they say, "Get out! Come back here when you're dressed properly." You see, that is wrong. That's what I'm trailing people. It is wrong because that person, he's expressing, that's who he is. He's an adult. He knows. Some of them, that is their uniform for performing music. What are you going to do? You tell him, go and rub off that tattoo. We don't want to see it here. No, you serve that person. You serve him. Another time you see a woman with a hijab, Muslim, and then you are a very serious Christian. You say, no, 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 no. You may even be a terrorist. They should check you again. Remove her hijab. You see? That is wrong because you're discriminating. You're making that person feel hated. Then they will go back home, tell people, do you know those guys? They attacked me for what I'm wearing. Then somebody who is more agitated than them say, oh, okay, we are going to show them. We are going to show them who is boss. Then that's how people fight you. Next thing you know, there's a terrorist attack because of how you treated your fellow brother and sister who was different from you. So that's what you need to understand about Islam, about Christianity, about atheism, about homosexuality, about transgenders. So how do you do it? Give the government workers diversity exam. Those ones who pass, they will know. Yes, that's my view. And as I've told you, this is the video of education is a spiritual thing. We need to even educate workers. That's why there are refresher courses to teach them that humanity is diverse. Contrary to what we believed in the past, there was no diversity. So we believed everybody should be uniform. You see, Nazi Germany's problem was the uniformization of the country. There were German Jews, but German Jews used to go to Sabbath, Friday evening. The Sabbath begins, and then Saturday they go. The German Christians go to church on Sunday. So there were more than two cultures happening in Germany. That's what now people are wondering. But these Jews, they're always going to Sabbath, they're going to the synagogue. And then another thing that used to happen in Germany, because also gays were attacked, people were having fun. The bars, they were so busy. Despite Germany's poor economic life, they were having fun, they were drinking. Go and watch. When jazz music became very hot, it was in the 1920s and 30s. Swing. When swing was introduced, the world went crazy. People were dancing. They are getting high. You just see people throwing their hands. The world, after World War I, for some weird reason, creativity became powerful, became mighty. So Germany now wanted to uniformize the country, Nazi Germany. So they started cleaning up the country and saying, if you are not of this race, you are dirty. You see, that's uniformization, which is very dangerous. You should never uniformize your country. People are diverse. So what is supposed to happen, if there are people who have a worship day on Friday, let them have it, like the Muslims. And Jews on Saturday, let them have it. And then Christians on Sunday, let them have it. Atheists who have nothing, let them have what they want to have. That is how you keep diversity. That's how you diversify a country. Believe you me, the wars will be few because people are doing what they are doing. Like Kenya, this terror attack is just recent. I mean, it is after 3 years of a lull. Yeah. What does that mean? They managed. They managed to have peace. So, but at the same time, they have to understand war. That war, they are in a war. So the people you're fighting, they have the same tactics you have. When you retreat, they also retreat. Just like you can retreat, you can also retreat. So that's what happened in Kenya. And it's as long as Kenya is next to Somalia, they should forever be prepared. That is life. Some countries are not next to Somalia, that's why they don't have those terror attacks. So anyway, so that's what you can do in the government offices: educate people, diversity, all of these things everywhere. Nobody is teaching people to be gay. What? No, you are just teaching people these guys exist. You know, I was laughing at somebody who was saying that we should remove cartoons that show gay characters. It's so sad. How can you say that? These cartoons that are showing gay characters, they are not teaching people to be how to be gay. They are saying they are gay children. They are there. So, what's wrong with the cartoon? There's nothing wrong with it. As I said, when I was a child, when I was young, that was who I was. Everybody knew. My friends knew. They knew this guy is so queer. Yeah. And which cartoon was there? There was none that was talking about queer children. But they saw me. And they saw others. So, if you remove cartoons that show queer children, the children in school will still see queer children amongst them. Because being queer is natural, it's not taught. So, people should understand. So anyway, I take the liberal way of life. So I understand conservatives, they hearing what I've just said, they can even collapse. But that's my stance. Okay, guys, thank you so much for joining us. This